All right, tonight we're chasing something with glowing red eyes, giant wings, a taste for chaos. That's right. It's the fucking Mothman.
Mothman!
Is he a harbinger of doom? A misunderstood cryptid? Or just really confused bird? So grab your whiskey, buckle up. Let's fly straight into this high-proof mystery.
That's the Dixie Chicks, dude.
Cheers.
I went under the microphone stand for some reason.
That kind of reminded me of like one of the, I think the most annoying songs in the world is.
From Dumb and Dumber?
No, there's a song that's like, I just want to running away.
Yeah. I actually know that one pretty well. Damien's a big fan of that one.
What?
Not so much anymore, but he was. I don't know. It was in the Flash Gordon movie.
Well, the Flash Gordon movies like from the 80s. You just don't know.
No, there was a new the Flash.
The Flash Gordon is different.
2023.
The Flash is different than Flash
Ezra Miller,
Gordon.
2023.
That's the Flash.
Yes.
Flash Gordon was a quarterback for the New York Jets.
Am I just totally making... I don't think that's true.
No, look up Flash Gordon versus the Flash. How do you not... I don't know comics that well, but you don't know anything.
Flash Gordon is a fictional character and a science fiction hero who originated in the comic strip by Alex Raymond, first published in 1934. Are you ready to give up on this yet?
No. Is it different than Flash?
That's the Flash.
It's not the Flash. Type in, is Flash Gordon the same as the Flash?
A football player and his friends travel to the planet Mongo and defend themselves, fighting the tyranny of Ming the Merciless to save Earth. You win, dude.
Thank you.
Good for you.
You know why I knew that? Because of Ted.
The movie?
Mm-hmm.
With the bear in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the guy that played Flash Gordon is in it.
Okay. I see. Well, consider me. No, I stand corrected is what you should consider me. Consider me corrected.
All right. Well.
Hey, dude. You want to fucking introduce us?
I
don't know. Fucking. I think we're ready.
So, welcome to Drunken Demonic, the podcast where the drinks are strong and the legends are even stronger. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Peter.
I'm your bartender of Bizarre. So pour up another glass. It's about to get weird. Tonight we're chasing...
Let's go, dude.
I had ChatGPT write an opening for me.
Okay.
That way I'm not like every other time where I'm like, hello, drunk people. I was like, all right, you know what? Last week got a little too far with the whole it
really
did. Jail.
And we talked about it.
So I was like, you know what? You know who could do some good, clean opening is my homie ChatGPT. So
she has a name.
Tina. That's Tina. So what did you think?
I thought you did great, dude. I think it's suspenseful. I think you let it in. I'm going to let you keep running. What do you got?
All right. Tonight, we're chasing something with glowing red eyes, giant wings, a taste for chaos. That's right. It's the fucking Mothman.
Mothman!
Is he a harbinger of doom? A misunderstood cryptid? Or just really confused bird? So grab your whiskey, buckle up. Let's fly straight into this high-proof mystery.
Let's go, dude. Tina's killing it, man.
If you want,
I really do. The suspense was there.
If you want, I can help you write an outro, a transition, or even a drink pairing. I don't think I'm supposed to read that part. We're going drink pairing.
Oh my God, dude. That was so good.
Thank you.
The suspense, the delivery was you did real good. I also just like the idea of the Mothman is just a confused bird. That's just the fuck, dude, I didn't have anything to do with that. Don't fucking blame me.
Like the dodo bird that went extinct in the 70s. Just randomly flew to Point Pleasant, Virginia.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into it, here's the Mothman. It's the red eye rye cocktail.
Red eye. Ooh, that's not bad. I like that idea.
I'm going to tell you the ingredients. You tell me what it sounds like cocktail-wise. Ready?
Okay. You know, there's only 6 cocktails ever, right?
7.
6.
7.
Depends on who you ask.
I've read the cocktail codex too, okay?
There's 6.
Okay, ready?
Continue.
2 ounces of rye whiskey, 0.5 cherry liqueur.
Luxardo, continue.
2 dashes of Angostura bitters.
That's it?
That's it.
Why would you not do Peychaud's and make it red?
the cherry, because the Luxardo liqueur is going to make it red.
No, it's not. It's clear.
No,
Yes, it is.
It is. I'm sorry.
I guess there's a couple. Luxardo's now a brand, but
there's a couple cherry liqueurs that, and one is definitely clear, but one is definitely red.
So you're probably right. There's probably like the maraschino one is the clear one, and then they have the amaretto cherry one that's probably like a darker color. 0.5 ounces.
So tell me the 6 cocktails in existence.
I don't know.
You said there's only 6. I said there's 7.
Can I go through them in my head? Maybe. I haven't read the cocktail codex. I just know that that's what it says.
No. So every cocktail is derived from 7 different cocktails.
Right. And you meant to say 6.
I meant to say 7.
So let's see. You have your old fashioned. You have your martini. You have your daiquiri. You have your no sour
flip.
Okay. You have your
You're doing great.
I don't know. I got 5
I know that the margarita is a spin on the flip.
on the flip, not on the
Daiquiri. Yes. Either way, here we go. There we are. Here we are. I don't believe it.
This is a super riveting conversation for everyone that's listening.
It is. This is for us, and you know that. So
Yeah, for
here's
sure.
the 7 root cocktails according to the cocktail codex: old fashioned, martini, daiquiri,
Okay.
sidecar, highball,
Yep.
flip. And here's the one I don't agree with, so maybe you're right. The French 75.
No, that's a spin off the daiquiri.
Why? Because it's just spirit and citrus and sugar? Yeah, fair.
Correct.
All right. So I guess we'll never know. I'm going to reread it. So
I guess we'll never know.
where were we,
Let me
Peter?
reread the entire book. It's not on the first page.
It's on the first page for sure. I'm sorry for anyone that is very bored with us talking about this.
Welcome back to Drunken Demonic.
Remember that great intro I had? And then we just got really far away about talking about cocktails.
Yeah, dude, you just be slicing and dicing.
So I have presented a cocktail here.
It sounds delicious.
For this night. And I didn't prepare it because we made it a couple days ago. But I'm gonna drink
We
it
advise you to.
in the honor of the Mothman. So I guess Can you tell me out of the 7 what this is?
Oh, that's the old fashioned for sure. You actually have one? Did you blend it?
No, I don't have the one that I looked up on ChatGPT, but this is
I was
This is
like,
the cocktail,
whoa, dude, did you blend an old fashioned?
I think, yes, it's an old fashioned because I thought that one of the 7 was the Manhattan.
No, that's a martini riff.
Yes, it is. So this is
It looks like a blood orange daiquiri or something.
this is silver rum. Then it has coconut rum, lime, strawberry,
Okay.
sugar.
So it's a strawberry daiquiri.
Damn near.
I mistook the fruit. I'm sorry. I couldn't really quite tell from here. I called blood orange, but yep, there's a strawberry daiquiri.
This is strawberry daiquiri as you can get.
Yep. Love that for you, dude. It matches your shirt too. Same
Thank you.
color. I think, at least from here, it looks like it.
Except there's so many lime.
Did you just put a lime in it and just like
I
blend
didn't.
the lime?
I didn't make it, but I'm
Oh.
pretty sure Avery Dent did.
Just put a lime into the blender.
What's that Brazilian cocktail that's like a mojito, but they just like throw a shit ton of limes in there too?
I don't know.
Like a Capriana.
Yeah. I don't know. That's really silly though. I hope that's what happened.
All right, Pete, what do we
There
want?
we go.
There you go.
Now we
What
can
was
get started
that?
on the story.
Tell me if this is distracting me. Start explaining to me. Ready? Can we talk about the Mothman? It's almost been
Hell
15
yeah, dude.
minutes.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We're going to drop in straight into the story, all right? November 14th, 1966, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Newell
Mount
Partridge
Mama.
is... Yeah? Wait, what?
Mountain Mama.
Oh, Mountain Mama.
That's the
Okay.
Mountain Mamas.
I thought you were singing the Freddie Mercury thing. Mama, ooh. And I was like, I don't know why Freddie Mercury needs to be brought into this story. But
Never mind. I almost
anyways,
had another. Keep going.
Newell
please.
Partridge is doing what a lot of guys did on a Monday night in the 60s. Jamie, can you guess?
Fucking.
No.
They probably did.
He's watching Monday Night fucking football, though.
In the 60s on TV? No way. That's
I
not
don't
You're
know.
listening to the old timey radio.
No, this is just what I'm writing. Okay, so anyways, no, but he's actually watching TV. with his wife. But suddenly the screen kind of starts to like fizzle out and blur. So it's like there's something interfering with the signal. So his wife gets up to fix it, but Newell sits there. He's completely frozen. He's overcome by this weird sense of like existential dread. And then it happens. From somewhere out near the barn on his property, they hear this piercing, metallic-like screech, loud enough to rattle the windows of their home.
Look up here. Look up here.
I'm a fucking bird. I'm from here. Yeah. At the same time, his dog Bandit, a German Shepherd, just starts barking at the front door like he's going to rip it off the hinges. So Newell runs to the door and grabs a flashlight and steps outside. But he hasn't even turned the beam on yet when he sees them. 2 glowing red orbs, about 150 feet away, hovering just above the ground near the tree line. He doesn't move. In fact, he can't move. He later tells reporters that the lights hypnotized him, like he was frozen in place, paralyzed, completely transfixed. He said that he may have also lost time. What was that?
Yeah, he tells report. We get it.
He tells the reporters. Did I say
report? You said report. Yeah.
Well, my bad.
Like a dumb idiot.
Anyways, bam, the trance breaks. Bandit bolts into him, or like bolts into the night, barking and chasing the lights, and they disappear. And then there's silence. But also, there's no barking, there's no whining, there's no crunch of paws on the gravel outside. Bandit is gone. Newell calls for him, waits, but hears nothing. So he heads back inside, assuming that the dog will come home sometime in the night or at least in the morning.
What the fuck, really?
Yeah, he's like, fucking dog.
All right.
Goes back in the house. Never mind, like the terrifying screech and maybe the fact that he was just hypnotized by 2 glowing red orbs. None of this really seems to matter that much to him. He goes back to bed. But thing is, Bandit doesn't come back. And Jamie, I'm sorry to tell you this, that's the last time that Bandit is seen alive. But I know this sounds like cliche.
He killed the dog.
But it's not the last time he shows up in this story.
Bandit comes back?
Bandit comes back.
Okay, I'm listening. You got my attention.
The very next night, November 15th, 1966, about 20 miles from Newell's home, things get weird. We've got 2 young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, as well as Steve and Mary Millette. They're driving out near this so-called TNT area. It's an abandoned munitions plant left over from World War II. It's kind of like the new Lover's Lane makeout spot, but it sounds super romantic because it's overgrown. There's concrete like domes crumbling and buildings that are in complete disarray, giving off this weirdly romantic, we might get murdered kind of vibe. So they park the car, hang out for a bit, getting all hot and steamy in there. And then suddenly one of the girls starts screaming. Hovering about 7 feet off the ground are 2 glowing red eyes. As they stare, completely frozen, the rest of the figure comes into view. It's a massive gray-skinned creature, muscular, man-shaped, but also apparently headless. At least the red eyes seem to be located at the top of the chest and the shoulder area. And then wings, huge leathery wings folded behind its back. At first, the creature doesn't seem to care that it's being watched. It just walks slowly towards one of the buildings at the TNT area. But halfway there, it stops, turns, and then looks directly at them. And in that moment, the panic sets in. Roger throws his car in reverse and peels out of the parking lot. When they think they've gotten away, however, Steve looks out the window and sees it flying beside them, keeping pace with the car without even flapping its wings. They hit speeds near 100 miles an hour, and it's still there, gliding alongside and doing that same classic screech. Can I get it again?
Come here.
Cool fucking car.
Oh, are you Morty?
That's Shorzy, dude.
No, you sound like Morty more than Shorzy.
Fucking come on, Rick. Jesus. Like Rick, I don't know, man. I think we should go.
That's pretty good. Anyways,
then without warning, it veers off into the trees along the side of the road. Okay, nightmare over, right?
No.
Wrong. As they round this corner just outside of town, the creature is there again, perched on a road sign, just sitting there waiting, and it leaps at the car as they come towards it, then shoots straight into the sky and completely vanishes. Roger doesn't slow down until they reach town, and where do they go? Straight to the Mason County Sheriff's Office. They walk in, pale, terrified, and still shaking to their bones. They aren't laughed out of the building, because what they describe is just the beginning. So the
What does that
terrified
mean?
couples,
They mean they've heard it before?
correct.
Oh.
The terrified couples,
I
Roger,
stole your
Linda.
thunder. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Go on.
good.
Go on.
So the terrified couples, Roger, Linda, Steve, and Mary, they head straight to the sheriff's office. And this is where things take an unexpected turn because Deputy Millard Halstead actually listens and he doesn't laugh it off. He doesn't accuse them of being teenagers that are drunk or high or pulling a prank. He knows these kids and he takes their story seriously. The group describes exactly what they saw out of the TNT area. A massive creature, human-like in shape, with no head, just glowing red eyes. And they had these massive wings that extended from its back. Enormous, but also silent because the creature barely used them. And then, to give a little bit extra spice here, Roger adds something extra. He says he saw a large dead dog on the side of the road during their escape. Jamie, can you tell me who the dog was?
Bandit.
Bandit.
What do you think? I'm an idiot?
He's
Of course
talking
I knew
about
who it was.
Bandit.
Yeah.
The group also shows Deputy Halstead these deep scratch marks on the hood of their car, like something tried to force its way inside the vehicle. So Halstead heads out there that night with his partner. He goes back to the TNT area and the same spot that the couples described. And what does he find? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, totally
What's up? Yeah, and they're just like
So-
chunks of lime in this.
So when Deputy Halstead gets out to the TNT area, he finds the parking lot and he sees the tire marks where they said that they had parked and fled. He sees the burnout rubber, right? He also sees a dead German Shepherd exactly matching Bandit's description, who he already has a call from the night before from Newell Partridge. Okay, but that's not all. While Halstead is out there, he tries to radio back to the station and the signal goes completely haywire. All he can hear is static, followed by this weird mechanical screeching. Jamie, can you really get in close to the mic and do your screech again?
No, I don't want to. I'm not your puppet.
That's exactly the same noise that the couple said they heard coming from this creature. So
Okay.
now, in the case, we have the missing dog recovered. We have physical damage to the car. We have multiple eyewitnesses, and we have a sheriff's deputy who's actually believing something real is happening. And that, my friends, is when the Mothman becomes more than just a campfire story. It becomes a problem for local law enforcement. So after everything, the eyewitness testimony, the car damage, the radio static, and Bandit, Deputy Halstead does something kind of unheard of for a small town cop dealing with cryptids. He holds a press conference, not in a hushed halfway conversation. We're talking like a serious press conference with reporters and TV, as well as local newspaper reporters there as well. He steps in front of the community and press and lays it all out. He describes these glowing red eyes. He describes this massive flying creature that doesn't even have to use its wings. He describes car chases
What's the point of them then?
of the wings.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and
That's,
we'll
right.
get to this a little bit later. It could just be this weird manifestation of what this creature has decided to be. Not necessarily that he needs the wings to fly, but that's what he thinks, the creature thinks it should have, right?
He doesn't need them, but he's got
We're-
them, kind of thing.
Yeah, we're going to get into this term ultra-terrestrial. So I'll describe it a little bit more in depth later, but pretty much it means extraterrestrial means something that is from outside of Earth, right?
Mhm.
And that's at least the main source material that we're using for this story, The Mothman Prophecies by John Keel, doesn't believe that the Mothman is from another planet. He exists somewhere within this realm, maybe in this dimension, maybe not, though. So he doesn't want to call them an extraterrestrial. He calls them ultra-terrestrials, meaning that they travel not from another planet, but from perhaps another dimension.
Within. All right.
Exactly.
Like
And we're going to get into all
Surfer.
kinds of fun terms like ultra-terrestrials and dimensional flaps, or as we will just most likely call them, flaps.
Or metrosexual.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone describe the sexuality of the Mothman.
I wanted to say words like you were too. I was feeling left out.
Oh, okay, metrosexual.
You're like, yeah, actually,
Ultra-terrestrial.
No, I actually don't know what the orientation of the Mothman is.
Dimensional flaps. Oh, so he's metrosexual. He uses a lot of hair gel.
He's got a lot of accessories with those dimensional flaps. All right. I'm listening.
He has
I
cool
do.
belt buckles. Let's leave it at that.
I too am a fashionista, so I get it.
All right. So we described what the sheriff kind of relays what the witnesses are telling him. Here's where it gets interesting, though. As Deputy Halstead describes the creature, a reporter pipes up and says, hey, that kind of sounds like a villain from, at the time, there was a TV show on The Batman, right? And there was one of the villains in the Batman TV series is called the Moth. And boom, that's how we get the Mothman being born. No vote, no town hall, no branding session. They're just going directly to a comic book reference. So now a local legend has a name. And like that, he's not just a creature anymore. He's a character and a headline and a myth that will perpetuate Point Pleasant, West Virginia forever. Forever. Okay, so anyways, the press conference, not surprisingly, doesn't quiet things down. It actually kind of kicks off this full-blown media frenzy.
You don't say.
After sitting quietly in the crowd, scribbling furiously in her notebook, the woman who becomes one of the most important figures in this entire story, Mary Hyre, takes the front stage. She's a local reporter, a very good investigator, and by all accounts, becomes like Mothman's official publicist. So, while the rest of the world starts freaking out about this new Mothman creature, Mary is getting to the bottom of this. The local reporter for the Point Pleasant Register, she's fascinated. She was at that press conference, and unlike most journalists who'd get the hell out of Dodge, Mary digs in and she starts talking to people, not just one or two, dozens. And the stories they tell her, well, they're different in details, but they have a very similar tone. She talks to Marcella Bennett, who was visiting a friend near that TNT area. As she walks to her car, a creature stands up from behind it, massive, winged, with glowing red eyes. She drops her baby in pure terror, completely transfixed by its stare. And she later tells Mary that she lost track of time, had no idea how long she was standing there. She couldn't move. It was like something was pulling at her mind.
What happened to the baby?
That was apparently the baby and Marcella, not to be a spoiler here, are totally fine.
Okay. Are you sure?
You know, I don't know, but from what I could see.
What's her baby's name? Elon Musk?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Did you see he just released his drug report?
No, we're not political place. That was just a joke to be funny.
No, but it was really funny though.
He's done drugs. I saw it on Rogan, dude.
Yeah, but he literally on Twitter or I guess X put out a screenshot of his drug report that was sent back, and he's clean. No drugs.
Ever?
They didn't test him for Mothman, though. So anyways, yeah, I just thought that this was the most silly fucking story that she just straight up drops her baby. So apparently the baby's fine. She must not have dropped her from that high, or maybe
just
the
gonna
baby
check
was...
this real quick. Sorry. I gotta check
just
this thing.
Do your thing, dude. It's painful to watch you right now.
There's so many limes in it. What happened? Who did this?
Don't just put the lime in the blender. You have to squeeze the lime juice in.
She's bartended.
Maybe not with a blender. I don't know. That's a whole different animal. So anyways, we have Marcella Bennett. Others also report seeing the Mothman casually walking through the yards, chasing after cars, or just perching silently on the tops of buildings. Multiple witnesses describe seeing that same the same paralyzing sensation. Time itself stops when they lock eyes with this creature. This wasn't just fear. This was something deeper, like hypnosis, like a short circuit in the brain, some say. Now, here's where we do get some differing accounts. Some people say that the creature did fly, but never once flapped its wings. Others say that it barely had to because the wings were so massive. They're 10 feet wide. Okay.
One flap and it just
yeah, dude, it's just gone. All it needs is that has that much force.
Silver Surfer, dude, I said.
If you see this massive creature that's just hovering around and doesn't even need to use its wings, what the fuck are you doing?
I've never seen a plane an airplane's flap, so I get it.
Man, I can't believe I never thought of it like that, but I didn't. What a thinker you are. I can't believe I never thought about the fact that airplanes don't flap.
You call me an idiot.
I only once. Never again. Yeah. So, in less than 2 weeks, Mothman has gone from a little whisper on a sheriff's radio to a full-blown national headline. Point Pleasant is flooded with reporters, thrill seekers, skeptics, and a new breed of investigator, the ufologist.
Obviously.
Because now it's not just about what people saw, it's also about what they felt. And Mary Hyre, she's not just reporting anymore. She's cataloging an awakening.
Bitches be cataloging. I get it.
So, cut to.
You're not going to get a laugh at all.
I can't even let bitches be cataloging. They do, though, right?
It
You
just
know, they
doesn't
got all
even
their
affect you. You're
catalogs.
just like, anyways, I'm fucking telling a story. Shut up. You
Well, I was
daiquiri
like, I was on the train where I was just gonna keep moving, and then you throw in those curveballs, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? All right, so we got Mary Hyre, and she's doing her cataloging, and that's where we introduce our next major player. Enter John Keel.
Cena.
Boop, 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 boop. I don't know how.
Wrestling music. Yeah, I don't know.
Perfect, dude.
Go on.
So, enter John Keel, journalist, ufologist, amateur philosopher.
You said this is a fellow oofer?
Ufologist.
Nice. A fellow oofer. I get it. Oof.
Yep.
Oof, oof, baby.
Oof. He's also a professional weirdo, I would say.
Yeah.
It's December 7th, 1966, when John Keel rolls into Point Pleasant from New York City, chasing what he thinks is just another weird bird story. In fact, he was there to like investigate some report initially that some lady had like a raccoon that she had trained that could communicate like by speaking. So he was actually initially there to check that out. But all of a sudden, he finds this crazy story.
These goddamn birds got me again.
Yep. So Keel doesn't think that Mothman is just a cryptid like Bigfoot or the Jersey Devil. No, he believes that Mothman is part of a bigger phenomenon, and he calls them, as we mentioned, ultra-terrestrials. They're not from another planet, but another reality, interdimensional beings that bleed into our world when the veil thins between realities. So, yeah, it's kind of that thing now. We originally started as a cryptid story. Now we're getting into UFO weirdness from this point onwards.
Okay.
And it just gets weirder from here. So Keel starts interviewing these witnesses. Most of them were tracked down by Mary Hyre. Now he gets sent to Mary Hyre from the sheriff's deputy, who is legitimately tired of fielding calls about the Mothman. He shows up and he's like, "What do you think? What do you think about the Mothman?" He's like, "I don't know, dude. I think it's probably a big bird. I really don't know." And he's like, "Do you think it has anything to do with UFOs?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Can you find me someone who thinks that way?" He's like, "Sure. Here's Mary Hyre. We're going to send you over to her. She's talked to all these crazy people." So Mary Hyre introduces John Keel to the Scarberries, the Millettes, Marcella Bennett, and Connie Carpenter, Mary's 18-year-old niece. And Keel becomes weirdly obsessed with Connie's case. Why? Well, for one, she's 18. Keel is, I don't know, late 30s at this point. In the Mothman prophecies, he gets like a little weird about Connie Carpenter. And I think it's just because he's like got a really weird, creepy crush on her. Another reason is she has pink eye, but not just any pink eye, because according to John Keel, she has a condition called photoconjunctivitis, something that he claims is often reported by people who are exposed to UFO radiation. When the spaceships take off, they emit UV light to blast out, and apparently that can give you pink eye. This is all according to John Keel.
It's not just farts on pillows here. We're dealing with
these are
gas.
UFOs and
alien
cryptids.
gas. Yeah.
So Connie says that she actually saw Mothman in broad daylight, just standing on the side of the road. She was mesmerized. She couldn't move, and she felt kind of like it was trying to warn her or tell her something. Mm-hmm. This idea that the Mothman isn't just a monster, but a messenger starts to take hold in John Keel's mind. So he and Mary team up. This is Mary Hyre, their local reporter. They go door to door, tracking down witnesses, and they're looking for patterns, specifically patterns that fit John Keel's narrative. But the further they dig, the weirder things get. So this, again, is where the Mothman story takes a very weird left turn right into like paranormal territory, like X-Files kind of stuff. So while John Keel is chasing down...
I gotcha.
John Keel's tracking down all of these different witnesses that Mary Hyre has actually talked to before. But then he starts asking them different questions than she did, where she was just being a reporter that was like, "Hey, what happened?" He's kind of like prodding because he thinks that there's something else going on here. So the something else is not necessarily a something, but a someone. And that someone is named Indrid Cold. Now we're going to rewind here. we're going to go back to the story of a man named Woody Derenberger. And he is driving along the highway near the Ohio River when this strange object suddenly appears in the middle of the road. It's metallic, round, hovering about a foot off the ground. So he stops, and a short man exits the craft and walks towards Woody's car. He smiles. He doesn't speak with his mouth. Instead, Woody hears the man inside his head, and the being says, "Don't be afraid. I mean you no harm. You may speak to me or think, whichever you would prefer." He then refers to himself as Cold, Indrid Cold.
Mhm.
Then, all of a sudden, they have a little bit more communication, and then he points to a nearby town and asks what it's called. And Woody answers. Cold smiles again, really, really wide, like creepy wide. Yeah, like not like a normal conversation.
Smile
like,
too.
Like a normal person wide, right? And says, "Thank you." Then he turns around, walks back to his craft, and boom, disappears. Woody then goes public with his story. And the next day, he finds a note slipped under his door, pretty much saying, "We know what you've seen. We know who you've talked to. You need to stay quiet."
Here comes a man in black.
Exactly. Because that's where we're going. Because here's where it gets creepier. The next day, a man matching this Indrid Cold's description walks into Mary Hyre's office. He's about 4.5 feet tall, sickly pale. He has deep set eyes and this weird bowl cut that almost looks so fake, Mary thinks that it may be a wig. His English is broken. That guy is the weirdest looking motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, he
What
drives
is his
really far
name?
with the haircut too. I don't remember, but yeah, he's got a great haircut.
The haircut, like, yeah, he's like a Chucky doll that came to life that is maybe even more crazy than the actual doll itself.
His name is Mark Davis.
Mark Davis is his name. Also,
So
I remember seeing some like Instagram post or something like that like says like how his wife was just like instantly magnetized by his attractiveness and his persona. And it's like, it must be that because it's definitely not how he looks.
and his money. Whoa.
Yep.
Look at it.
Wait.
Holy shit. His wife? No, she looks kind of crazy.
What's his name? Mark Davis?
Yeah. Mark Davis's wife. Look it up. Oh, yeah, she's pretty hot. His now wife. He's had a couple.
That's not surprising. Yeah. This is the dude that shows up, right? Except imagine his hair being black, right? And we can just pretend that the wife is Mary Hyre. Okay.
Okay.
So anyways, his English is broken and his behavior is erratic and potentially like robotic. As he's having a conversation with Mary, he keeps moving closer and closer. He's trying to talk to her about her reporting on the Mothman, on these UFO things. He's pretty much asking her what the deal is with John Keel and what they're investigating.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he keeps getting closer and closer, like minute by minute. And Mary says that it's like almost like a nightmare kind of thing where like you can't do anything to stop it, but it just keeps happening because he just keeps on moving closer and closer and closer. And I'm trying to move closer, but the camera's so far away that you really can't tell, but it's kind of like this. Until he becomes distracted by a ballpoint pen on her desk. He picks it up and he's marveling at it, laughing to himself. Mary, seeing her chance, says, "Hey, you can keep it." He smiles again, that same wide, eerie grin. Then he walks out, laughing maniacally. So, yeah, we're like officially in like, I don't know what the fuck is going on time now in this story. Yep. So, more reports come in. People see short, pale men walking around town, always followed, though, by these black sedans. One woman tries to confront one of them, but before she gets too close, a black car screeches around the corner, scoops up the guy, and totally disappears. And then there's Connie. Now, Connie said she was nearly abducted. You remember Connie, the 18-year-old chick that John Keel was trying to like get with, right? She's nearly abducted. The black car pulls up, the doors swing open, and someone grabs at her, trying to pull her into the car. And she takes her shirt to the police station. The sleeve is ripped off of the shoulder. And the next morning, she finds a note under her door that says, "We can still get you." Jamie,
Stop.
Do you know what's happening here? I just can't imagine like being John Keel and hearing these stories and being like, yep, for sure. This is all making sense. We have UFOs. We have telepathic beings. We have men in black and government operators that are running around in black suits and black cars. All of it is swirling around the town like the size of Oak Creek.
Well, the only reason why it makes sense to me is because I've listened to multiple things on this.
Okay.
That's it. Yes.
So all of these weird things keep happening, right? And they continue to happen all through the winter until right about the start of summer, I would say, the end of May 1967. And then all of a sudden, complete silence. The reports slow down. The sightings fade. No more Indrid Cold. No more Men in Black. No more Mothman. No more UFOs. They all just seemingly disappear. Point Pleasant starts to return to normal as it can, anyways. But something lingers. In November, around the 1-year anniversary of the first Mothman sighting, the town is unsettled again, but not because of what they see, but because of what they feel. People begin having nightmares, eyes glowing red in the darkness, visions of rushing water, cars falling from the sky, birthday presents or Christmas presents floating, screaming, screeching, silence, and snapping steel. It's like their subconscious is warning them of something that no one can explain. But then it happens. On December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge connecting Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio, is packed with Christmas shoppers, bumper-to-bumper traffic on a cold Friday evening. At 5:04, the bridge collapses without warning and obviously without any time to react. The entire structure crumbles into the icy river below. 46 people die. Some bodies are never even recovered. And among the chaos, there are witnesses who claim they saw something perched high above the bridge just moments before the collapse. The Mothman.
Yeah.
Watching, silent. Now, as investigators are going through, they find a few things. There was a faulty eye bar on the 13th column of the bridge's suspension. It's like some fault that was mismanufactured by like a millimeter or something like that. Now, also, on top of that, the traffic light that controlled how many cars were let onto the bridge at a time had gone down. So the traffic was overloaded on one side of the bridge compared to the other side where the light was still running. And then also, the bridge hadn't been maintained in like 20 years. But for the people of Point Pleasant, there's no doubt that the collapse and the Mothman are the reason and why they're linked. And after that day, Mothman is never seen again in Point Pleasant. So, yep. Yeah, we're real,
suspense music.
Real X-Files shit about this. Like, they're just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks, and letting that be part of the story. That's kind of like John Keel's writing style. And I think that my guess is he probably shoehorned in a lot of his own thoughts on why this was going to be, why the Mothman story had to have all these other things, is because he didn't want to believe anything else.
Well, there are a lot of like accounts of people saying that they saw the same creature before this happened.
I agree.
So that's what makes this such an amazing story because of that. Like, yes, what John Keel threw into it, like the 1,000 other like variables, kind of discredits it, in my opinion. Yes, that was it. That's
anyways, so back into the story just to wrap things up. After the Silver Bridge collapsed, the town begins to mourn, but the Mothman has vanished. There's no more sightings at all. No glowing eyes, no late night screeches, and no weird radio interference. Point Pleasant was left with all these questions, all this trauma, and an eerie silence that felt heavier than before. But the Mothman didn't stay gone exactly. In the years that followed, new stories began to surface. We have reports of the Mothman being seen near Chernobyl just days before a nuclear meltdown. Controversially, we also have Mothman sightings near the Twin Towers in the week leading up to 9/11. So
why is that controversial?
I think it's probably a touchy subject for people. Like, don't put your cryptid onto my trauma.
Yeah, but like, I get it. But there's also the trauma of the people of Point Pleasant and Chernobyl.
Anyways, like all this pretty much from the point of the Silver Bridge collapse through to modern day, we kind of see the transformation of the Mothman from being this, like a pattern shows up where every time he shows up, people fear, they have dread and wonder, and then something terrible happens, which brings us to the real question. Is the Mothman trying, or is the Mothman causing these disasters, or is he trying to warn us? Maybe he's neither. Maybe he's just watching. Maybe he's drawn to these moments like a cosmic storm chaser. Now,
maybe he's
we don't
maybe he's
know.
a lady.
Well, he don't got no tits.
Moth woman. Oh yeah,
That's my. That's
he ain't got no tits. That no woman.
I didn't know. That's Mothman. Well, Moth woman. That don't make no sense.
What are you, Disney, trying to trans this? Sorry, go on. Before I cancel
So
us.
we don't know what the Mothman is. We probably, I put this in quotation marks, probably never will. But here's what we do know. The people of Point Pleasant know what they saw. And the Mothman is out there watching from the shadows. And maybe he's not done with us yet.
Are you ready for my hot take or what?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you got? I got some questions, but I think we can get to them. What's your take, Jamie?
My take, obviously, is I want everything to be real all the time. That's why we do these things.
Yeah.
Someone's like, do you believe in the Mothman? I'm like, yes, of course I do. Like, are you stupid? Obviously, I believe in the Mothman. No, I was just thinking about when you were finishing the stories, how they're like, and it's never been seen again up until these couple points. I tried to find Mothman sightings in the last 20 years, and there's none. Other than
they had
real fake ones.
Like Chicago O'Hare Airport maybe has had some. That's the most recent ones I think I know of.
When was that?
What was that?
What happened?
They've just had a couple different times they've had him show up there. There's been reports of him at least.
But nothing's happened to that airport though.
No, nothing at all.
Maybe something's happening.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, flavor us pioneers if something happens. But I was going to say that.
Yeah. What are you getting at?
The birth of the internet is now why we don't see any of these things, because there's a bullshit detector now. They're like, no, prove it to me kind of thing.
Do you think it's that, or do you think that the internet waves and the interconnectedness have chased them from our reality? Like 5G, they say that 5G is shredding our souls and stuff like that. Do you think that, because I've actually seen, and I don't know how credible any of these reports are, but people say that the reason we don't see ghosts anymore is because 5G or Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and stuff like that disrupts the frequencies that ghosts operate within.
I think people still see ghosts all the time.
Okay.
That's the one
I've never seen one, so.
Me neither. I've definitely felt something different.
Hit me up, ghosts. I want to get in, dude.
Yeah, I think we want it too much. We want to see those things, that's why it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like I told you, my house in Asheville, that was definitely a ghost.
There's something.
There's definitely ghosts there.
Not in a bad way, just
no,
just
but I think it's the only thing that I truly think has been proven that happens.
Interesting.
Cryptid, everything. Mothman had since the 70s, you haven't heard anything else about the Mothman other than 9/11 kind of, but there's not been the reports like there was in Point Pleasant.
No, and I think that that's one of those things I don't think that that's real. I think that that's just people projecting Mothman onto tragedies.
Yes.
I mean, I think that that's also the same thing with pretty much the reports that we've seen of Mothman since the original Point Pleasant thing is just people, oh, I think I saw a Mothman in retrospect or whatever. They're putting him on the tragedy because they need something to blame.
So what makes Point Pleasant such a big deal to where there were this many people that reported the same thing? Or is it that someone went out and said that they saw this, then there's a news broadcast, the guy holds a huge broadcast about it, and then other people come out and go, oh yeah, I saw that too?
Yeah, it could be that. I think that it's strange. My brain wants me to think that oh yeah, it's probably just that, right? But the part that finds things interesting is having gone through, and I didn't go through all of Keel's book, but certainly went through sections of it. And he, we talked about a little bit in this episode, the idea of an ultra-terrestrial. So not necessarily an alien, but creatures that, or just even the fact that there are multiple dimensions that we exist in, and that our reality isn't as, whatever you want to call it, firm as we believe it is. We didn't talk too much about it, but there's a reason why they call them UFO flaps, or this is called the Mothman flap. These points that are, a specific period of time where there's a rash of sightings that of whatever it is that your flap is, where the veil between dimensions maybe is a little thin at that point, and we start to get some bleed over, and somehow something jumps across or jumps the dimension, and like I think that's to me quite possible.
Yes, I can see that.
And that this isn't just all made up. Maybe some people are saying some of it, but like that's a lot of people that said the same exact thing.
No, exactly. And like, I guess I was like, what made this place so special that Point Pleasant was just hit by this Mothman and then nothing else was reported?
Yeah, I think that I don't think they choose where these flaps happen. They just appear. And I think that like, it's the same thing with like Stranger Things, where like the story seems so ridiculous because it's this and it's that and it's that and it's that and it's all happening at the same time, and it sounds totally crazy for all of these ridiculous things to be happening at the same time. But if you think about it from the perspective that like a flap would occur, it kind of does make sense that, okay, we would have the Mothman show up, and then there's also like UFOs that would be coming through. And then because of that, we would have either the government or the ultra-terrestrials that are regulating themselves anyways, and the men in black like also showing up. Like maybe it's not the most ridiculous thing that they would all go on at the same time. Maybe it's a little more ridiculous to think that it wouldn't.
Yeah. Or maybe it was just, it's been covered up a lot better since that situation. Yeah. I thought Stranger Things was based off of MK Ultra, not Mothman.
No. I was just using that as an example. It's not about the Mothman at all, I don't think.
No, I'm pretty sure Stranger Things is based off of MK Ultra.
Yeah, all those experiments with weird, like pretty much like trying to break people's brains, and the Montauk Project. Shit. So I was just using that as an example of, it seems ridiculous because Stranger Things is like, oh, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. But when you think of it in this context, I guess it doesn't feel as ridiculous because these things would go hand in hand.
Yeah. So, I guess why do they think that they know better than us than to cover this up then?
Sorry, ask again.
Why do you think the government and the men in black know better to cover it up?
Well, I don't know what the agenda would be for something like that. I'm like, why it can't just be, you know what I mean? I don't think it would, I mean, like maybe just control.
Yeah.
Also the fact that like, I think we've maybe talked about this before, but like if there was a way to unite all the nations of Earth, it would be against aliens or something like this that, because we're going to hate each other until we have a new enemy kind of thing. And so it's maybe a little more beneficial for them to have us all fighting each other than fighting the ultra-terrestrials or the aliens or whatever, men in black.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, what else you got?
That's all I got, man.
Those are kind of, we like pretty much hit what I had written down for questions. Yeah, I guess, do you think Mothman, what is Mothman? Like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he, like we've talked about, just like something that's not supposed to be there that randomly showed up and is indifferent? What is he?
I wholeheartedly believe that he is there to warn people.
Okay.
Yes. So I guess is as good of a time to any, but my mother swears that she saw the Mothman.
Really?
Yeah.
This is definitely as good a time as any. Continue.
Her and my dad were up.
Hold on. Are you just, I don't mean to interrupt you completely. We're going to have to restart this. Are you holding your toes, like running your fingers through your toes?
No, I'm holding my foot. Can you see it?
Yes.
It's not a camera.
That was like too traumatic for me to not mention.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were like interlacing your fingers through your toes and holding it. And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Like this?
Yeah, it's gross, dude. Okay.
So anyways.
Your mother.
So yes. So my mom has told me this story before, that she has seen the Mothman. And it was when her and my dad were outside of Yellowstone National Park. And she said that she saw the Mothman. And then days later, there was that huge fire that happened in Yellowstone.
Shit. It was back in like the 80s, right? Huh. Okay. Did he do anything? Was he in a tree? Did you get more details or?
No, I honestly just thought of that right now.
Okay.
I'm sure I can get it.
Click when we started covering this story that your mom has told you about it.
I was like, oh, my mom has told me. Like, I didn't think to like call her and ask her. You want me to call her right now? It's a little late for moms.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'll ask her.
that's
I'll get back to
crazy.
you. I'll let you know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so yeah,
Huh. That's wild, dude.
makes sense to me. So this is why I've believed in things like this my entire life.
Yeah, it's conditioning from an early age for sure. That's such a crazy story. I just don't know like if I've ever actually met someone that has seen a cryptid.
I also
I'm
don't
not talking
remember.
about like T Crane telling me that like he thinks that like him and Joe Dix ran into Sasquatch up on Buff Pass.
Well, I want to also say that I think my mom and my dad were on acid too.
Okay.
So that kind of might discredit it.
Could be thinning the veil a little bit between dimensions, between realities. I've heard that argued as well.
But for the fact that this was before the movie was out, so not the mass public. I don't think my mom read the Mothman Prophecies when the book came out. So
yeah, that's interesting.
guess I'll have
She
to
had
ask
her
her.
own view of it that like fits with the narrative.
Yeah, and I want to think it was like when I first as a kid watched the movie. She's like, "I've seen the Mothman." I was like, "What?"
You what? Yeah. Do you want to talk about the movie?
We can. I didn't get to watch it again. I tried to look it up to watch it the other night, and
It's
just
terrible, dude.
it's just on Stars. What do you mean? Richard Gere would not be in anything terrible.
It was not. Well, I think my biggest thing is that I watched it after doing all the research, and Richard Gere should not be playing John Keel. They should have the dude that owns the Raiders playing John Keel. Not actually that mean, but like John Keel was like a bachelor who literally was just like a paranormal investigator for his entire life and never had a family or anything like that. Like he's not this like me and my wife we're going to buy a house and all of a sudden she has a brain injury that she sees the Mothman and we almost all die. And
Yeah,
whatever.
well, Richard Gere's a little too pretty to be like, you've never dated.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's bad casting.
Well, no one's going to watch it if it's like Al Davis. Yeah, so I didn't get to watch the movie again. I haven't seen it in fucking...
This is the only time I'd actually seen it. It was okay. It was very like of the times, I would feel like it felt like the same kind of like not like storyline wise, but like the same shots and the same stuff as like this is like right when M. Night Shyamalan comes out with like Sixth Sense and it's just like, oh, yep, like everything's shot in like really weird lighting and like it's supposed to be like weirdly suspenseful with these like ethereal sounds and stuff like that.
I kept thinking like the butterfly effect.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But like same thing. Like it's all like shot through like a blue light film. So like everything's weird and dark and it like intentionally has this eerie feeling, but like it's really just bad videography, I guess I would say.
To each their own. Is what
I think
I'll say.
we have different opinions on the movie, obviously.
I don't remember why. It's been a long time, so I haven't seen it since fucking I was a kid.
Yeah,
I tried to watch it. I was
2001.
I was like, "There's no way I'm going to sign up for Stars right now," and that's the only way.
Thank
to watch
you for
it.
reminding me. I need to cancel my my 7-day trial. Thank you for reminding me.
Can we talk about the fact that the town is now fully open arms?
Oh yeah,
Mothman.
They love it, man, and like.
There's a
just like
festival.
Roswell, why the fuck not?
Every year they do a Mothman Festival that like 10 to 12,000 people show up for.
And that's a lot of fucking weirdos to put in
You'd
one
go?
town.
Would you not go?
Absolutely. I would love to go.
If you were close, you'd be like, I'd go.
I might go anyways.
I looked it up. It's only 7 hours from where I'm at right now.
Do they all do it on November 14th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, they have the Mothman Museum that opened up in 2005.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'd love to go. Especially like when you first brought up the Mothman, like I knew the story of the Mothman kind of. I just knew that he was a weird looking cryptid dude. I didn't know how good of a story this was. I think I like need to give you some props on this for like talking me into it. I feel like with cryptids, it's not that I get disinterested, but I maybe get overwhelmed because it's just like crazy things and they happen forever, right? Whereas this is like a very like concentrated event.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens in this space and time and then it just never happens again. Like that's why I like even give it more credence because the story doesn't continue. Like it's not like, and the Mothman was seen forever and ever and ever in Point Pleasant. The people that were already the witnesses don't say, oh yeah, I saw him again, right? Like lightning doesn't strike twice for them. Like they describe weird occurrences with like the Men in Black and stuff like that and Indrid Cold, but they don't keep saying, oh yeah, and like just to get notoriety kind of thing. Oh yeah, and I saw the Mothman, and I saw the Mothman, and I saw the Mothman, and I saw him again the other day kind of thing. Like they have these one chance encounters with them, and then all of a sudden like he disappears, and the town actually supports that, saying, yeah, like, no, we haven't seen him since the bridge collapse. Like there was something here, and now it's gone, and no one's seen it since then. But anyways, the story for this whole thing was just like mind blowing, with like John Keel and Mary Hyre, and they're like on the investigative trail, and they're tracking all this down, and then you have these weird other things that are going on. It's got to be now my favorite cryptid, just because the story is so good. Like from a narrative standpoint, it's fantastic.
Well, there was a story to tell. Like obviously, you got a movie.
Yep, for sure. And like
Bigfoot has quite a bit of movies, but
he does. But I don't think
they're
that
not
it's
that good.
Bigfoot's all over the place, and like I don't know. Bigfoot's tough for me. This one was so good because it's like it happened and then it doesn't happen anymore. And if you missed it in that little amount of time, you don't get to see it again. And we have John Keel's account of it, and some of Mary Hyre's reporting to her local newspaper, but that's kind of it. So they get to write this story, and John Keel does write a very good story. Like it has a good narrative structure to where like these events happen, and then it blows up with the press conference. And then I went and interviewed all these people, and I was working side by side with this local area reporter. Like it's written like a movie, and that's why it was so cool, because it's not just random. And then this guy had this experience, and then this guy had this experience 20 years later. Oh, and on the other side of the country, this guy also had an experience. The story's not told that way. It's like it's done so well. I'm just pumped that we got to cover this.
You're welcome. I can't believe you didn't want to do it before, dude. That's crazy.
That's not that I didn't want to do it. It just like, we've got all kinds of different things in the air that we're kind of juggling, deciding which ones we're going to actually cover and which ones we're going to pass along, that kind of stuff.
We are big time.
I mean, I don't know about that, but
investigatory journalism.
That word that you kind of tried to say
is why we
tried
today.
To do as well.
I was thinking like Princess Bride, but then I fumbled on the word marriage. That's why we're here today.
Gathered here today.
That's it. That's
sweet,
all.
Dude. What else you got for us, man? You gonna sign us off?
Thank you so much for listening to the wonderful story that we just had. At any time in the foreseeable future, if you care to like, subscribe, and share this wonderful podcast that you're listening, because you want to send it to all your friends. They're like, oh, these guys are kind of weird. We're weird for you, and we want you to listen to us and share it with everyone. I'm going to keep going. I've prepared a 9-minute appreciative
9-minute outro
that I want to read. It starts with, it's a small haiku. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was ready for it.
Yes, please like and subscribe. And that's all I got. Sign us out, Peter.
No, dude, you nailed it last time. I'm going to let you run it back.
I don't remember what it was.
Okay. You just made something up, I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't.
Something like,
this is really.
Until next time, stay weird, stay wicked, stay wasted.
Stay wasted. Always believe in yourself, like TLC said.